In life, we all ask the questions, why me? Why now? And why did this happen to me? But if we are honest with ourselves, as we keep living, we realize it had to happen. Why? Fate, purpose, destiny. In the long-anticipated release from G4 Life Publishing Company, author Terrence Williams takes us on a journey of some of life's lessons he has learned. On this journey, we find lessons which include makeover, it wasn't all her fault, legacy, and moving forward backwards. He encourages the reader to embrace the reality we all must face at some point in life, that whether you believe it or not, it had to happen.
Welcome to Grace Talks, produced by Grace Media Productions and hosted by T-Dub Entertainment. Grace Talks is a podcast that informs and inspires to help you grow gracefully. Here you can enjoy great conversations, experience special guests, and encounter grace moments. Tune in now for an all-new episode of Grace Talks.
If you have a question or would like us to discuss a specific topic, Grace Talks wants to hear from you. You can email us at gracetalks@graceforlife.com. That's grace_talks@grace-4-life.com.
Welcome to Grace Talks, where we have ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And it's the place where we practice growing with grace. I am your host, T-Dub, and thankful for you tuning in yet again. Tonight's episode will be no different than all of our others, where we're going to experience greatness in our presence. Tonight's episode is all about failure. What does failure mean to you? How does one fail? What happens when someone fails? How do they bounce back? Well, we shall see exactly how our special guest feels about that. Let me introduce her to you. Dr. Yolanda Sherman, founder and executive director of Break Free Release Ministries. Yolanda has inspired many to embrace spiritual change and live a more fulfilling life, free from bondage. Yolanda is a licensed Christian counselor, ordained licensed minister. She holds a PhD in Christian education, a doctoral degree and master degree in Christian counseling from Juliana King University, an affiliate of the University of Family Bible Institute College. She also received a bachelor's degree in Christian counseling. She has also had speaking engagements from all around the world, speaking from the heart of her own experiences as a wife, mother, 2 sons, and ministry coordinator. Yolanda has the unique ability to connect to women, men, and youth from all walks of life. Through Break Free Release Ministries, she has forged a path of success, achievement, and faith-based empowerment for others. She has accepted the call to help family members to develop lasting relationships, self-esteem, and self-worth. She equips individuals with the necessary tools to realize their potential to bring about personal transformation. Grace Talks audience, please help me welcome our special guest for tonight, Dr. Yolanda G. Sherman. Good evening, doctor. How are you?
Good evening. How are you?
I am good. What's going on with you tonight? How is life treating you?
Life is great. It's a blessing to be here. such an honor
Well,
to be on your platform tonight.
well, it's been a long time coming, as you already know. It's just I was moving slow, but now I'm moving fast. How about that? So, did you have a good New Year? Or as they say, New Year. I don't know why they put an S on it, but has your New Year gotten off to a great start?
Yes, it has. It has been amazing. So many wonderful things are happening and on the horizon, and so I'm just really, really excited about it. So
Are you
excited,
saying there's stuff in the pipeline? Is that what you're trying to tell us? You're
things
not
in
going to give us an insight?
not just yet, not just yet,
Just a little teaser.
not just yet.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Well, we are grateful here at Grace Talks. Me and the team are grateful that you have taken out your time to spend quality time with us. And I've just been on a journey this year, this season, as we're in season 2 of Grace Talks. I've been on a journey since I wrote my first book, It Had to Happen. I wanted to dive a little deeper in the subject content that I chose for the book. And one of the chapters dealt with failure. And so there were some things that I dealt with, but because of some of the books that you have been privy to write and explain to so many and bless so many by, I wanted to know if you would take a moment and share with our audience on this subject matter. So, as we dive into our subject content for tonight, um, we begin by asking you, how do you define failure?
How do I define failure? I define failure as when you start something and you know that you have a dream and a passion for something and you don't keep pursuing it. Sometimes you may hit roadblocks, life circumstances happen that can cause you to have a setback. And so when that happens, we have the tendency to say, you know what, I don't even want to do it anymore. I don't want to push forward. Well, if you give up and don't push forward, you have failed. All right. That's because you are not truly going forth in what it is that you're called to do. And basically, you're giving up. So you're really failing yourself. Uh, so I consider failure is not the fact that you're trying and things happen, opposition comes, things get in the way. I consider failure is when you don't rise above those obstacles and situations that come to try to stop you from moving forward in purpose and you just quit. That to me is failure.
I in It Had to Happen, there is a portion where I'm dealing with um, Mr. Hershey, and it's a known fact that Mr. Hershey launched the Hershey business and failed at success for, I believe it was 7 times. It was either 6 or 7 times that he failed, but yet he kept trying.
Mhm.
Why do you think that is? In your personal thoughts, why why experience failure 6 or 7 times? And I'm talking about complete failure financially or successfully, and then get back up and do it again, and get and fail and get back up and do it again. Why what would make a person do that?
Uh, what would make a person, because they believe in what they're doing. And so when you believe in yourself, no matter how many times you failed at it, eventually it's going to take that one thing that is going to catapult you into the place that you're trying to go or to be successful in. And so that's why I say failure to me is just simply quitting and not doing and giving up. If you continue even after failure, you eventually you're going to get to that one time, that one moment that you catapult. But if you don't look at it, as if I'm determined, I believe in myself, I believe in what I'm called to do, then you failed yourself, because in that place, you won't even try anymore.
How do you identify the causes and triggers of failure in your personal life, and how do you work to address them? So triggers, the things that are leading towards a failed situation. How do you identify those things? And then how do you address them?
If you want to deal with it personally, you can.
Yes, this is this is you in your personal life.
There were times that I thought that I failed my family, especially when life circumstances happen. You see things that it don't look like it's positive. It look like it's negative. No matter what you do, it triggers things off that you failed. You wasn't the best mom. You wasn't the best wife for me. You wasn't the best grandmother. You wasn't what could you done better? What could have I done better in order to look at things in a different way when it comes to my marriage? There are times that I thought I failed as a wife, trying to pursue a career or getting too buried into doing a bunch of activities in ministry. And my failure as a wife is not meeting all of my husband's needs, because I was so consumed at one period with a career, and more so ministry was the biggest one. And it's all good. And that's why you have to have a balance between personal and ministry, because too much of anything can cause a negative impact in your life. And that triggers to be what we call a place of disappointment and failure.
I'm glad you made that segue for me, because I wanted to know, is it possible? You mentioned several examples of where you felt failure had happened in your personal life. My question to you is, how do you deal with those feelings? You mentioned you thought, you felt. How does, not a general person, but how does Yolanda deal with the feelings of guilt and shame associated with failure in your personal life?
Well, for me, prayer is foundational for me. Reading my word is foundational for me, and it helps me to deal with a lot of things, because our thought process is not changed or transformed, then we're not able to deal with things in a rational way. For me, sometimes I can get emotional, And sometimes your emotions can take over where you can just feel like you just fail just at everything in life because you get overwhelmed. And one thing about emotions, they can play tricks on you. So you have to find a way to kind of, I mean, for me, I had to find a way for me to deal with my emotions. Okay. What are the good things that I do right? Then you start looking at that. What are some things that can I improve? You start looking at those things. And so when you start putting all that together, you can get a balance in the situation where it's not so over exaggerated with your emotions. Because that was my biggest thing. Emotional distress contributed to a lot of things that I thought that I was failing in. And basically, one of the things I had to learn how to communicate. And instead of suppressing where I felt like I was failing with my family, I began to talk about them, And I remember my son one time, he was like, Mom, you're doing the best that you can. Why do you feel like that? And I was like, well, I don't want to fail y'all as a mother. I don't want to fail. I want to be there for you. He said, but you got to live. So I quit beating myself up because a lot of times we're not, I'm not a superwoman. I am a woman, but sometimes we can put ourselves as this super being instead of being a human being that has feelings, emotions, and all of that. And we put too much on ourselves instead of, like I said again, having a balance even in your thought process. Sometimes we can overthink things, and it may not be as crucial as we make it when we add our emotions in there. And that was the biggest thing that I did. My emotions. It took me years to get those emotions with God's help together.
Well, that's a great start on our path on tonight. Are there? I noticed in your degrees, you have a lot of degrees in counseling. Are there specific that you can share? Are there specific tactics, strategies, plans, processes that you're taught to teach for a person who may be, because I also know that you're a life coach. So are there specific processes that you teach in counseling that lead people to deal with failure or overcome failure?
Well, I think one of the things, and people sometimes they don't want to write or journal things down, but it's okay to say, uh, write down that, today wasn't such a good day. I had a hard day. It was stressful. I had too much on my plate. Just like we put things down, daily activities of things that, we want to get accomplished for the day. And what if you didn't get to every last one? What if life circumstance happened, right? And you're not able to get to A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You may get to A, B, something happen in between, then you go to D or you go there. Now, you can feel like, okay, I didn't have a successful day because I didn't, do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, that out, every single thing. Then you become frustrated. Then you become overwhelmed. All of that. Step back and take a breather and put a check mark on what you did get accomplished, what you did get completed. You understand what I'm saying? And then you can go back and re-strategize how you can go back and implement the rest of the things that you didn't get done. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
Because I'm
yes.
telling you, if you have stuff planned A to Z and you get the A, B, and everything get out of sync with uh, E, F, G, then some people it throws they can't function. They just all over the place, and they sometimes get erratic, crazy behavior. Oh, I'm talking about panic, not like losing their mind, but it just messes up the whole rest of their day because they're so used to doing things in this specific order. But things happen.
Yeah.
You have to brace yourself for the things that happen and not get overwhelmed. I think writing things down, sometimes there are times that I have gotten overwhelmed, disappointed. I wrote those things down. You know, uh, I may not have went and verbally say, you know what, I'm disappointed with this, I'm disappointed with myself, but I write those things down and then I look at them and analyze them and say, you know what can I learn out of this? What can I do better out of this? Because I'm writing it down, I'm seeing it. So that gives me clear vision. Oh, it's something I need to work on. And it may be time management. It may be how I need to deal with a stressful situation and not go into a panic, because that's what a lot of people do, and it just throws everything off.
Yeah.
It really disorganizes you when it doesn't have to be that way, because life happens. I mean, what your book is, when life happens.
That's a good way to look at it. Well, thank you for that entryway. And we're going to take our first break. And then when we return, we'll talk about the effects of failure in entrepreneurship and how to bounce back from that. We'll be right back after this. Failure happens in many different ways. And one of the ways that many people experience a form of failure is through business or their entrepreneurship journeys. Dr. Yolanda, or Dr. Yo, as you're affectionately called, can you discuss the role of failure in people's entrepreneurship journey or entrepreneurial journey? You've either experienced personally or those around you that you know that are in business.
Lack of preparation, organization, making sure you have a business plan, also making sure that you have the right people connected with you in doing business ventures. Because if preparation, not having the right business people, can result in serious failure. So those are some things. You got to have a plan. You can't come without a plan. Strategically, you got to have a plan.
How many can you first give us a small snippet of your business ventures that you currently associate with or have happening? And there's a reason I'm asking, but can you just give the audience a small overview of the business ventures that you've chosen to take on?
I have a nonprofit organization, Breakthrough Release Ministries International, is non-profit organization, as well as Uniqueness in You Enterprises that consist of Uniqueness in You apparel and life coaching, as well as Uniqueness in You Learning Academy.
Okay. So with all that going on, has there been somewhat of a difficult challenge at any time that you have experienced? And can you give us some insight on that?
Yes, most definitely. Difficult starting uh, was one of the most difficult things, having enough resources financially. Those are things that can affect uh, your business.
Talk about what you went through in the difficult challenge. In other words, like you just gave a couple of examples, but can you point to the issue? Can you dive into the
The issue, you know, at one point for me is really focus, being focused. Uh, you have to be focused. Most of all, consistent. Consistency can play a factor. If you're not consistent with keeping up with your plans on how you want to do your business, uh, like for instance with the school, what type of programs are you going to have in the school? You have to do lesson plans. You have to do uh, another thing, marketing. It I had that problem uh, dealing with marketing because when you hire people to do things for you for marketing, you have to first know what it is that you want in order for them to be effective in their job to be able to promote you properly. So that was one of the major uh, loops and blunders for me, uh, because if you don't know what it is that you want, you cannot expect for anybody, even on your team, that's working with you, whether it's in ministry, whether it's in business. Uh, it's a bloop and blunder. Deadlines. I have a nonprofit. Deadlines for grants or different things like that. Uh, you can't be waiting around. You have to execute them. So procrastination. Uh, my biggest thing was separating uh, business from personal. Because if you don't focus on the business and you keep dealing with, okay, this happened in my family, this happened in my family, you will never ever be successful in business. So those are the things that I personally learned. I had to come to grips. Life happens, but I got to stay focused. And so, what I would tell anybody, you got to know what you want. You have to be consistent. Um, don't be afraid to fail. You
Oh,
know,
okay.
don't
You
be
did it
afraid.
again. You did it again with the segues. So my question was, I was just about to ask you. So in the process of innovation and creativity, oftentimes, for example, let's say a t-shirt, let's say a graphic design, let's say a cook creating a new recipe. All those things bring about creativity, and I'm sure you've experienced that in so many different areas of your business ventures. But how important, and I'm piggybacking on where you went, so I know you got some you about to go deep on us. But how important is it to fail in the innovative and the creative stage of business? I I will be honest. I even talked about it in my book. I struggled and had to come to a realization that I'm not perfect. Hey, listen, don't judge me, but I went through that season where I had to get it right the first time. I have to get it right the first time. And that's what would cause the procrastination for me. But if you could just take us into the realm of the innovative stage, the creative stage, and how important it is to fail and then not beat yourself up.
Well, one thing about it, if you never try, you never succeed. If you don't get it right and you say, okay, I failed at it, but I've tried to do it this way. I've tried to do it that way. I tried to create it this way. I tried to create it. This ain't working. That ain't. I went through all of that, right? But I didn't give up. And that's one of the things. You can try different things different ways, and it seems like you're not getting anywhere. And you can get to the point to whereas a fear come over because you feel like every time I do this, no results, nothing happens. This don't happen, that don't happen, this don't happen. And so the fear factor comes in, and when fear comes in, what it does is it makes you draw back because you don't want to fail. But let me tell you something. If you keep persevering and keep pushing yourself, eventually you will get to the result of the finished product. Take, for instance, I do t-shirts. I don't know how many years I wanted to do t-shirts because I got tired of paying other people to do my t-shirts, okay? Waiting on them, paying, and I'm paying. They're not free. And I'm waiting for the product. And so I decided, you know what? I know what I like. I know what I want. Now, do I really want to do it for a business? I don't know, but guess what? If I want to do it, I got to do something to make it happen. So what I did was I invested. Can somebody say invest? Invest in your business. Now, at first, I wasn't looking at it like a business. I was looking at it as if I want to do my own t-shirt.
So like a hobby?
Like a hobby. Okay. Exactly. And so I got in there, and, I'm one that pray, and I was like, Lord, help me learn how to do this. So I asked two good people, give me a few pointers. But I stayed up and worked at it for about 3 days straight. This is the honest to God truth. On that third day, because I was determined, I mastered it. As time went on, I started getting real creative. So now, if I want to sell t-shirts, I can sell t-shirts because I've reached that place that I'm professional at. Now, at first, was I professional?
How did that make you feel? I mean,
I wanted to quit, but I didn't.
Why?
Because I was determined that it was not going to get the best of me. And that's what happens to people. They quit before they master success.
Was there self-motivation, or was there somebody saying, well, why don't you try this, or you could do it, or was it a combination of both?
It was a combination. You always push yourself. Okay, you never give up on yourself. But every now and then, it's always good to have the encourager, somebody that say, you can do it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And it drives you, believe it or not. But at the end of the day, it depends on you. How bad do you want it? And so I wanted it bad. So even if my encourager didn't say you could do it, within me, I told myself, I can do it and I'm not going to let this get the best of me. And so it's twofold. You can have your encourager, which is good, motivating you. But at the end of the day, you got to want to see yourself succeed. It's like, how bad do you want it? Bad enough.
I see. So self-motivation with a sprinkle of encouragement equals persistence or determination.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. We're going to go ahead and take another break, and we'll be right back after this. If you're just tuning in to Grace Talks, we are discussing the subject of failure. Failure in personal life, failure in business, and failure in ministry, and then how to overcome those areas of failure. I went online to look up the definition of failure again, and one of the main definitions that jumped out at me was lack of success. And I was just talking with Dr. Yo on the break regarding a colleague of mine that was expressing to me that she was potty training her daughter. Well, the daughter has picked up by observation that when this dirtiness gets off of me, they usually go to a trash can to throw it away. She's not conceptualizing the fact that the dirtiness is it needs to be closed up and put away before it goes into the trash. She's not getting that part. She's just getting the fact that I know they go over there and they throw something away. So my question to you, Dr. Yo, you being a mother for a lot of years and you being a grandmother for a lot of years, lack of success. Did you feel did you feel a sense a lack of success when you had to deal with that area of life with the children as well as the grandchildren and the potty training and the just teaching and training of different things that children eat your food and I want you to put it in your mouth and then they put it on the high chair or they put it on the floor or they turn the bowl over after you've cooked this meal. Did you feel a sense of failure after it kept happening over and over and over again?
Yeah, because it was a bit too much. It was overwhelming, and I just felt like I just couldn't take it anymore. And when it became successful, is when they could go to the potty on their own. And that let me know I did not fail.
Okay.
Going through the process, I felt like I had failed.
Oh, man. See,
And
I feel like and I know we're adding a little humor to it, but I feel like from the food aspect, I don't remember hearing a lot of stories of me wasting food because I was greedy. So I wasn't trying to have my food on the floor. I wasn't trying to have my food on the table. I wanted my food in my mouth. So I didn't have that problem. you know how the child picks up the spoon and the stuff just falls off the nah, baby, no, mm-mm. This smell too good. This I need this right here. But as we take another turn, you and I have been privileged. I grew up in church, you grew up in church. You and I have been privileged to experience and see the inner workings of ministry or church life. And we have also seen the ups and the downs, the good and the bad, and sure enough, the ugly of church life.
Mm-hmm.
In experiencing that, because I can recall working for a church conference and getting to pull back the curtain to see some things that you didn't know sitting in the audience, that you didn't know were actually, happening or going on. My question to you, can you talk about failure or what you've seen as failure in ministry, and just dissect that? You don't have to roast or anything like that, but just some of the things that you would consider failure as it relates to ministry life.
In ministry life, accountability, accountability is a big one, because a lot of times in ministry, people may not know everything that's going on in your life, and in that, people can make assumptions, and uh, they can also discredit who you are based on not even um, digging a little bit farther into finding out what's going on. The compassion. Sometimes we fail at compassion. Uh, I'm not saying you have to be sympathetic with people, but you need to show empathy. We can fail at showing empathy. Uh, we have to have compassion. If you're gonna do anything in ministry, uh, if we don't have the love and compassion for it, then we're not successful. Uh, I don't care how many people we have following us. I shared with somebody, a leader today. Matter of fact, just today, I said, you want to be a person who impacts opposed to a person who influences. A person that influences is drawing attention to themselves. It's all about them. It's all about how successful I am, how I'm here, all of that. But a person of impact changes lives. So if you look at ministry, if we become influencers instead of people who are impactful, meaning we want to see change in somebody's life, then we're failing. And for me, I hold this personally. I want to be a person who impact the lives of somebody to change. People are suicidal. They are going through stuff. They don't even trust coming in the church or in ministry, because I'm going to say we, have broke confidentiality.
Mm-hmm.
We've done all of that. we've preached messages that were confidentiality to the people we're supposed to be making the impact in their lives for change.
Mm-hmm.
Confidentiality is you know, and I'm I'm a transparent person. I don't, that's just who I am. There was an instance in my life where I was suicidal, and I trusted that in an instance for prayer. Okay, that particular situation of my vulnerability, the confidentiality was broken because my vulnerable place was used in a public place to destroy who I am. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so a lot of times people do not even feel safe anymore. And we failed. I'm going to say we failed them. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say you or you or you or you. No, we failed them heavily in that place. I only use that one instance. But if I share something, just say I'm talking to you, Mr. Terrence, and I start saying, this member at my church, boy, every time you look around, the church got to give them the money for food, and they're always talking about their children need food, and they got a husband, and oh my goodness. Now, if you have a small congregation, everybody knows who you're talking about. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Church. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying?
Right, right.
And so what we've done is we've broken it's not a safe haven, and we failed. And we have to be careful that we do not fail in our ministry assignment. We have to be careful that we do not fail. It's one thing to do the ministry, but it's another thing when we don't have the compassion and the love of God to be able to be responsible for that task that He has given us. So
to prevent failure in ministry, you're saying the number one thing is compassion. And then I believe you said confidence. And then thirdly, the right type of communication, because you have to say the right words to not allow that person to feel some type of way after they've come to the ministry for life, for strength, for encouragement. So that's good how you grab the C's. I saw that. So compassion, confidentiality, communication. Are we missing any others? Because I like to listen. I'm all about alliterations. I love that repetitive letter because that helps people remember things better when it's like that. So I just want to make sure we're not missing any other C's.
Yeah, because that compassion, that brings in the love portion. So we don't have to say love. You can't have compassion without the love. That's a given. Okay? So you got to effectively be able to communicate confidentiality and compassion.
Well, I want to add two more, and you can feel free to expound. I'm going to go with character, and I'm going to go with creativity. Go.
With character, we have to be that comes from impact and influence. Character. Who are you? What are you representing? All right. Who are you? And what are you representing? And that goes for me. Who am I? And because we're talking about ministry, failure in ministry. So who are we? And who are we representing?
That's good.
And so if your character is not lined up with who you're supposed to be,
Mm-hmm.
then how can you represent him and make impact for change? Anybody can influence. Influence can go both ways. You can influence people in a positive way, or you can influence people in a negative way.
Right,
But
right.
if you're making an impact, you want a good change because it's life changing.
Yes,
The
yes.
impact. You want that person to have a life changing experience.
And if we're gonna prevent failure, we got to be creative, right?
And how can you be creative? I have something that I call unmuzzled with purpose. And so if you are muzzled, meaning you are restrained, then you cannot be creative and who the creator has called you to be. And if you don't know who he's called you to be, you definitely cannot create what you're supposed to be doing, which is your purpose.
Right, right.
So your character got to speak for something. You either going to influence people in a good way or a positive way or a negative way.
Mm-hmm.
There's no in between. Your character shows up, even in your creativity.
Yeah, yeah.
If you messy, confused, your creativity is going to be just that.
Yeah.
But if you're positive, your creativity is going to bring a positive impact. I can't stress enough. We have to be where people's lives are forever changing for the better.
Mm-hmm.
Want to see them grow. And in ministry, you want to see people grow, or we will have them as damaged goods.
That's
And
it.
that's not what we want.
That's good. That's good. I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that. I heard the other day Steve Harvey say that a lot of people think money changes you. Money doesn't change you, it exposes at a greater level what's in you already.
Yes.
If you like drugs and you get more money, then all you're gonna do is get more drugs. You're not changing. It's just that your opportunity to obtain what it is that's in you is at a greater level. So I feel like with the ministry life, we have to make sure that we're willing, even when ministry becomes mega ministry, or we're getting more money to do things, we if selfishness is there already, it's just going to be magnified. But if compassion is there already and you get more resources and you get more supplies, then all you're going to do is give more, because that's who you are. You're just going to love people more. And I believe that, in my personal opinion, because our number one thing is to love the spirit, love the soul, to love them to the point that they are drawn closer to God through Jesus Christ. I think that the love factor is really the origin of the failure, because we give out a lot of strategies, we give out a lot of principles, but we don't give out a lot of love.
And that's the key thing, because and we have to be to a point that we're not doing this partiality type of love. I love those who,
Are big givers.
jump jump at everything I want them to do, or who agree with me on everything. No, that's when I think about God's love is unconditional. It's a
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
and we don't show enough of God's agape love, and that uh really, really can interfere with the impact that we have in really, really, really changing lives and others. We've all been to a sense guilty of that.
Yes. Yes.
Uh, I thank God for change, because you're going to have to love the unlovable, because how can they see who God really is? I'm talking about when we're doing ministry.
Hmm.
If we do not demonstrate the Jesus type of love, which is agape and unconditional. And so,
Let me touch on that as well. We, I feel that, and this is not, this is constructive criticism where we all can grow. We deify the word ministry. And by that I mean this: we make it this big, ginormous thing that it has to be, when it's very, very simple. If you look in the New Testament, Jesus says, "I did not come to be ministered to, but to minister."
mm,
When I looked that word up in its original text, the word that is rendered is simply serve.
mhm,
Wait, so I'm a minister. Oh, I'm a minister of the gospel. Oh, I'm a minister. So you're a servant, is what you're telling me. You're a servant, because we don't always make that obvious. We you don't know who I am. I am Minister Terrence Williams.
and
You mean servant Terrence? I mean, I've told people, with all the gifts and talents that the Father has blessed me with, I'm very, very appreciative. I don't take it lightly or for granted. But I tell people all the time, you can call me T. I'm good. What you need me to do? I don't need to be on the front row unless John P. Key and Yolanda Adams are in concert. But other than that, I don't need to be on the front row. Um, I can work behind the scenes. I will push you forward. I will sit on the back row and work. We have to get to a point that we recognize, if we're going to abort the failure process, that we learn to serve. Or another definition I found as time progressed was, ministry is meeting the need.
mhm.
What needs are we meeting? Are we just hyping? You talked earlier. I gotta go here. I'm sorry. See, you brought it up. I didn't want to take it here, but this is Grace Talks. We do it all. We talk about everything. Okay. We discuss it, and then we grow with Grace. Are we hyping people up? Is that our version of meeting the need? Or we no, this is dialogue, sis. This is dialogue. This is dialogue. I'm serious. I want you to chime in. Are we getting to the point that our version of meeting the need is being charismatic? Okay. Are we
we
getting to a point that we are so charismatic in our speech that we're not concerned about a soul. We're just concerned about articulating in a manner that will impress? Because you said impact. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I see you. You look like the wheels are turning.
Jesus, he did things simple. So in its simplicity. And so he reached the multitude. And he's our greatest example of impact, you know. And even if you look at it from Jesus being an influence, he was a great influencer, but he was a positive influence. So even in him being an positive influence, he still impacted change in the lives of those coming to the Father through him.
So in other words, it sounds like you're saying he prevented failure.
He gave us a choice to not fail, to succeed. We're not perfect, but he gave us a choice. And our choice is eternity if you want to go ministry. So
that's good. That's good.
The failure is to reject the choice to change. You understand? His love created a pathway for us to succeed to eternal life, meaning we can get there. The failure is when we reject what was so freely compassionate out of love given to us. And so the reason why I say we need to be impactful, because we've gotten the influence mixed up. Influence is high. It's all about me. You see me. This is what I bring to the table. No, not in ministry. It's what Jesus brings to the table, which is eternal life.
Right.
So he uses us as ministers of the gospel as to be instrumental and be impactful to the lives of others, to change, to know who he is, not who we are. Now, when you are in business, you want to be an influencer. Why? You got products. You got this, you got that. You got to influence the people. You got to hype them. Why? Because you want them to buy into your business.
That's it. That's it. That's good.
So what happens is we want to take our influence into the kingdom, and they don't go hand in hand. You take your influence in your business, and you influence people to follow you so they can buy your book, so they can do this, they can do that, whatever. Over here in the kingdom, you won't see lives change. It ain't about you. What Jesus did, even though he was King of Kings and Lord of Lords, it was not about him. It was about his Father's business. It was about what he was assigned to impact lives to change, so that they can go back to the Father through him.
Right.
That's John 3. If you want to get scripture. But we don't have to go there first. John 3:16.
Okay.
God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever will, come on here, let him come. Have the right to eternal life.
The giving, the compassion. Got it.
Yeah. So we have to be to a point that it's not about, that's why you got to have a balance. People want to pour their business into the ministry. No, ministry is not a business. I don't agree with that. Ministry is to impact and win souls. Can you write books? That's your business. Can you sell them? That's your business. Can you have schools? That's a business. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But when it comes to what we talked about, the confidentiality, all those things, that we got to separate the two, because we're trying to mix the ministry with the business portion. Separate the two. You can still sell your book as a bestseller. You
Mhm.
can still write your school curriculums and be a university or whatever it is you decide to be. But when it comes to the souls, you got to be strategic about winning them back to Christ.
Right. Right.
There's nothing wrong with businesses. I'm all for it. But what we're doing is we're mixing them into the ministry and trying to force it as it's a ministry thing, and it's not.
Mhm.
God's business is separate from our business, which is our business.
Mhm.
But he has his hand in it because he gave it to us. So it will thrive.
Wow.
Just don't mix the two.
Wow.
A lot of times people, they struggle with that because it seems like it takes longer, if you do it the way it's supposed to be done.
Mhm.
No. If you trust God and take care of his business, you won't fail. In either way, you won't fail in ministry and you won't fail in business.
That is good, Dr. Yo. I appreciate you for going deep right there. I appreciate you. We're going to take another break and we'll be right back and let Dr. Yo take a breather after that powerful message she just gave. We'll be right back. We are just we're in deep stuff now. We didn't got out there in the deep waters thanks to Dr. Yo. Just I don't know if I stepped on her toe or what, but she went in. She went in on us, guys, and not in a negative manner, but in a implementation phase almost, or a point of encouragement to grow in grace, to avoid failure in ministry. So, Dr. Yo, it's been a pleasure already. I have to ask this question, and if you need to generalize, that's fine. But how does one handle failure and bounce back from setbacks in personal or professional life? And like, if you want to focus on things that Yolanda has done, that's perfectly fine. But how do you handle, how does one handle failure and bounce back? What is it that's absolutely essential to bounce back from a setback of failure in their personal or professional life?
Well, I know for me, I was pursuing my degree, and uh, the first time I was in college, it was in 1988, no, 1992. Well, I was in 1988, but let's fast forward to 1992 when I was pursuing uh, a nursing degree. And the first semester, I just got married. I hadn't been married 2 years yet. And I got pregnant with my oldest son. And when I got accepted in nursing school, it was in January, but he was due in February. So they let me go in August. Well, new baby, marriage, overwhelming, trying to go to school, working at the hospital, doubles on the weekend because school was Monday through Friday. Well, I made 2 Ds in two of my classes, pharmacology and nutrition back then. And that was the most devastating thing in my life because I truly wanted, at that time, thought, okay, I want to be in nursing. So when it came time to go back, they let you sit out a semester and then you could go back. Well, it was all kinds of stuff going on, and I was
Mm-hmm.
still, young married,
Mm-hmm.
with a new baby, new to motherhood, all of that. So I didn't go back. So I took some other little technical classes and managed to work and do nurse's aid and uh, went on to take phlebotomy and do medical. So, just technical classes, ultrasound, EKG, just all kinds of technical classes. And eventually, like, I started, like, I was always found myself like counseling with people. For some reason, people would come to me and and then I realized I love counseling. So I was afforded an opportunity to take my college credits and transfer them to another college. And I went on a journey of pursuing counseling. And then I went into Christian counseling. So I went at the bachelor's level, very, very hard. Master's, very, very hard. By the time I got to the doctorate, it was extremely hard. I was quitting. It seemed like every week it was challenging life circumstances, and
Mm-hmm.
I managed to get through. Well, by the time it came for the PhD level, stuff was so overwhelming, and I set out and I didn't go. And then situation happened. I said, you know what? If I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go all the way because I was pushing myself because earlier as I told you, I felt like I failed because I didn't finish my first degree in nursing. And then I realized that I was only going for nursing because at that time that's where the money was. Not knowing that there were other things and things that I enjoyed doing that could still allow you to make good money. So I set out, and then to make a long story short, in 2019, I finally finished. I got my PhD in Christian education. Well, started applying for different jobs and, different things, and it just seemed like nothing was uh, going anywhere. And that was, I felt like, okay, I done went to school, I done did this, I did that. It was a waste of time. I failed because it don't seem like anything is paying off. And so I done wasted all these years in school for nothing. So I felt like a failure. So uh, I went to teaching, enjoyed that. Then do the downsizing, got laid off, whatever, in 2018. And I felt like a failure again. I'm just being honest. Because I'm like, I finally got uh, what I enjoy doing. Use my degrees and hey, I'm teaching, I'm happy, and then they there was a cutback. So in the cutback, I was cut back. So I ended up having to go back into a field that I didn't really want to go into, but hey, you do what you have to do. Um, so what am I saying? I kept my badge for teaching. I kept saying one day I'm gonna be back teaching again. I'm gonna be back in where I desire to be at with God's help. Years later, I'm back as a college professor, making more money than I did when I went out. What am I saying? I did not give up. Did I feel like a failure? Yes. But guess what? Just because there was a bunch of no's, I knew eventually I was going to get a yes. What am I saying to you? Don't give up on yourself. Keep pursuing your purpose, your desire. The worst thing you can do is give up on yourself. And so because I didn't give up on myself and I kept pushing even through doors that were closed, for some reason God said open door. So what am I saying to you? Don't give up your faith. And whatever you do, be persistent. Keep pursuing your purpose. Eventually, that door will open for you.
That's a good way to bounce back. That is a very good way to bounce back. Dr. Yo, it's been a pleasure. How is it that someone who has listened to this podcast, how is it that they can get in touch with you, follow you, email you, purchase your product? What is it that is necessary to do those things?
Well, if they need to get in contact, they can always call the nonprofit organization 832 263-8759, or they can visit the website www.bfrmi.org, or if they're interested in taking classes uh, for life coaching and being mobile with your just different things, you can go to unenterprises.com. So those are the places. If you need counseling, you can go to the website of bfrmi.org. So in our office, you can call, or you can email me at info@breakfreereleaseministries.org.
I have to thank you again because I've known you for a long time and you have always been transparent and you always have acknowledged your weaknesses, but you never allow your weaknesses to prevent you from anything you're trying to do and to accomplish. So I'm very, very grateful to have had you as a special guest on Grace Talks. With that being said, as we come to a close of another episode, we usually allow our special guest a closing moment, something that they feel is profound, something that can be a mantra, that can be a motto that they live by, that could be a cliche that they use for their purposes, that could be some inspirational moment, a scripture, a prayer, a poem, whatever it is that you want, that nugget that you say, I need you to take this with you after this episode and never forget it. It could be a writing that you did. It could anything that we're gonna give you the floor here for this moment to to be that to have that moment with our audience. The floor is yours.
Well, if I wanted you to take anything with you, know this, that well, I have a favorite scripture, and it's Romans 8:28. All things are working together for the good of them who love the Lord and who are called according to his purpose. That's one of the scriptures that I live by. That is my favorite scripture, but it also goes along with this. I have this saying that you are unmuzzled with purpose. And when you look at being muzzled, it's a place that you are restrained, that you are immobilized. And the one thing that I want you to know that you are amazing and your purpose matters. You have to see yourself in such a way that you are making an impact in the lives of someone else and also as a positive influencer. I share with you throughout Grace Talk, throughout the broadcast, about being an influencer and also being impactful. And you want both influence in your purpose, but impactful in ministry for changing the lives of somebody else. If we're not changing lives and helping other people become unmuzzled or restrained in chains of I can't do it. I'm not qualified to do it. I'm not equipped to do it. I'm not anointed to do it. What are we doing? Right? So I'm talking to you. You have a purpose. You have something to offer. There is an audience that is waiting on you. You have arrived for this moment. You got to see yourself in this way of a person who is without restraint. Remember this, you are unmuzzled with purpose. Somebody's waiting on you. Walk in your purpose, your God given purpose at that.
Well, there you have it. Dr. Yo in the fullness. Thank you so much, Dr. Yo. We look forward to hearing from you in the future. And to our audience, once again, we say thank you for supporting us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing the information, the podcast. And you can find us everywhere. We are on Anchor. We are on Google Podcasts. We are on Apple Podcasts. We are on iHeart Podcasts. We are on Amazon Music Podcasts. We are on Audible Podcasts. We are on Radio Public. We are on Central. We are on Overcast. You can find us on any of those networks. Also, Spotify Podcasts. You can find us on any of those networks. And please subscribe, like, share, and until next time, don't forget to grow with grace. We'll be talking real soon.